Hi, you look tired. Overthinking again, huh? Yeah, I get it. Just stop, right? So let me ask, how are you really feeling? Heavy head? Frustrated? Stuck in life and your own mind, no matter how many podcasts you listen to, books you read, or rules you follow. And somehow it works for everyone except you. Yeah, I feel you. You could be overthinking, but be neurotypical, neurodivergent. Each of us is like a different kind of cake. Imagine trying to bake a chocolate cake while following a lemon cake recipe. Sure, some steps overlap and you can learn from them, but you need something special just for you. And you're a banging cake. And I want to encourage you to remind yourself of the advice you already know and for you to find ways to make them yours. I want to share different approaches that sometimes help me, and I wish it could help you as well, because I know how it can destroy your brain. And since I'm very chaotic and have thousands of thoughts, I need some structure to make it bearable for you. We're going to discuss a few key points like oppressor and a victim, changing narratives, different ways and approaches. I want to start with common advice. Just stop thinking. Oh, is that all? Cool. Thanks. Everything is fine now. And then there's the follow-up advice. Change your focus, take action, breathe, fight it. And those are great tips, really. But not all of us respond to the same kind of advice depending on time, place, or situation. Imagine me telling a football player before a big game, people shouting, the team is high, kinda, and I'm like, hi, it's okay to feel scared. What do you need right now? I would probably get punched, and honestly, at that moment, I would punch myself too, because it seems very unhelpful in that situation. And maybe you already have those days when you feel in control, and even when overthinking starts, you can be like, just stop your slaying, who cares? And if that works for you, that's amazing. I know how much work you have to put in it, and congrats. But if, like me, when you're at your lowest, just stop thinking is like the cherry on the top of the very sweet cake, and you get nauseous or high in sugar, and you want to break things, shout at people, or just beat yourself up. And suddenly the thinking becomes something like, great, now I'm a terrible person on top of everything else. I just should move to an island and become a shepherd. But knowing me, I would forget feeding them. And now I'm a sheep killer, which kind of sounds hot, but it's not. Or you start thinking you're some undeveloped version that other people have a stop overthinking button. And here you are, trying everything, meditation, therapy, courses, and still your brain's like, nope, we are overthinking today. So you spiral. You start to think, what's wrong with me? Maybe I'm not trying hard enough. Maybe nothing will ever help. And maybe I'm not worthy of the change. So you are coming back to a victim mindset while being your own oppressor at the same time. And that doesn't come as a surprise. It's bad for your mental health. But what if you could install a new button, one of compassion? And when I mean compassion, it's not finding excuses not to do anything, staying in your comfort zone of being a victim who has no control over your life. Nah, babe, you have the control. You are great and you can do it. But it's more like a gentle support for a heavy head. So you can rest before taking next step. It fuels your actions with love instead of despise. And what can you do differently this time? Let's talk about some techniques. Breathing is great. It's literally life-saving. If you feel overwhelmed, you can try to find a safe space, take long exhales, or use methods like 4-5-8. Inhale for 4 counts, hold for 5, and exhale for 8. But sometimes at the height of the panic, inhale peace, exhale stress feels like the biggest BS ever, especially if anxiety is making you hyperventilate. I talked to my therapist about it, and she said that for people who have been taught to shut down emotions, breathing can feel like you're just shutting down again. So instead of regulating, you're spiraling even harder. And she recommended me, and here's what you might try to do differently. Instead of trying to breathe away your feelings, acknowledge them. The thing causing your panic might not be real, but your feelings are. It's like having a fictional crush. You know they don't exist, but your feelings for them are real. Let yourself feel these emotions that bring on the panic. Yes, it's easier said than done, but if you let other people be human, maybe you can let yourself be human too. This might not work as well, and I know it's difficult now, but ask a question. What can you do differently than usual? And if you find your way, instead of just forgetting about it, take a second to appreciate yourself. And about feelings. Imagine your friend is overthinking. Would you beat them? Call them stupid? Okay, what if sometimes you need a friend? Maybe you can communicate with someone who cares about you. I know it's flying a challenging thing to do when you don't want to be a problem, but you would be surprised that people actually strive to help. Maybe they'll tell you to stop overthinking, but in a way that works for you, like cracking an inside joke to make you laugh, planning to smash some ugly mugs, or showing you the saddest video of a cute dog so you can cry. Maybe you actually need someone who is like, bro, come on, you're the goat. Or maybe you need compassion, someone to say, hey, stop for a second. I'm here for you. I'm listening. What are you feeling right now? Do you need to curse? Cry? It's okay, do it. What do you need right now? And if no one is there to ask you those questions, can you try to become your own friend? Another technique you can try is EFT Tapping. As you tap on a specific point on your body, you say, even though I feel scared, shitty, I'm done with everything, I want to turn off my brain, I choose to accept and honor myself anyway. But maybe it's 2 a.m. and you're losing your mind, and EFT tapping sucks because you can't accept yourself at the moment. You despise yourself. And all the positive talk seems like the biggest BS. What if you try tapping while saying, I can't accept myself, but I accept that I can't accept myself in this moment. Not always just this specific moment. Later, when you process those emotions, you can journal about it, find the root of the problem, because these hateful overthoughts are the result of deeper beliefs and patterns. You can try asking yourself, what were you afraid in this situation? What was there a past event that made you believe in these negative thoughts? What unmet needs or emotions might be behind your overthinking? Okay, great, but maybe you know the roots of your problems so well that you're overthinking your awareness. It's like, how is it possible to know so much and still be stuck? I'm an absolute mug. But here's a thought. You can take it and do whatever you want with it. What if the goal isn't to stop overthinking entirely? What if it's about minimizing it enough so you don't blame yourself when it sneaks back in? Then people say, if you were more passionate about something, you wouldn't have time to overthink. I get that, but let me tell you a story. I met a guy. I had pictured this moment for a long time, and when it finally happened, it was like a scene from a movie. Perfect music, perfect timing. We kissed. And then there was the sound of a whistle in a song. I started thinking about whether I'd left the kettle on, the most freaking cinematic kiss of my life, and I'm wondering if my kitchen is on fire. My friends later said, he must have been a bad kisser. But no, E9, he was good. But he could have somersaulted and I wouldn't have cared. Then the fire at home turned into fire in my head because we were a terrible match. I knew he would not treat it that seriously and he wouldn't respect me after, blah, 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 blah. So I ran to the toilet to cry. It was passionate, but I still overthought. So I did the impossible. It's impossible to overthink, right? When it's something so good happening. And that moment was my breakthrough. I started laughing because now nothing is impossible for me. If I have to live with my overthinking, I'm going to make it one of my character traits and traits so I can evolve and overcome it. People in movie kiss for 30 seconds. Imagine a scene that lasts 5 minutes. It would be boring. My running away and overthinking adding some spice, a plot twist in a story. And for many people, it's going to be a crazy and sick idea. Like, get some help. What do you think I was doing every Thursday from 6 p.m. to 7 p.m.? They might be right. Maybe it's toxic. But maybe trying to kill the overthinking part at all costs was even more toxic. Somehow by acting this way, I followed the advice of taking action, but it's not what people think when they say take action. Usually it's designed for people to be productive, to do something risky, to do something you always wanted to do, but were too scared. And that's a good advice because maybe you actually can just take any action to get out of your mind. But maybe sometimes taking action means to give up on something you want to do because at this point in your life, it's too much and it's destroying you. It's not giving up forever, but making space in your head. Life is too short for overthinking, but it's also too short to kill overthinking at all costs. And stop constantly conditioning your life. The last piece of advice I want to discuss is about not worrying about other people's opinion because you can't control them. That's true, you can't. And it would be such a shame to resign from your dreams just because you're worried about what other people will think or say. But I feel like we've demonized overthinking to the point where it seems like you can't have a good life until you eliminate it completely. So you start conditioning. I will only be happy when I stop overthinking. I can only start doing things when I will stop worrying completely about other people's opinions. But what if this thing is like losing weight? Doesn't happen overnight. Unless it happened for you, then I'm kind of jealous and maybe you can tell me. But maybe it's okay that those things take time. Many nights and one day, you just wake up at more peace. That even when the overthinking comes, you don't feel guilty. And even though you still care what people gonna think and gonna say, you are doing those things anyway. When you practice mindfulness, are you trying to forgive yourself and understand your fears? Or are you only trying to force change because these patterns interrupt your path to becoming someone you think people would like? Imagine your anxious thoughts as a child who needs comfort, not punishment. Stand by them, fight together fears, and show them that they can feel scared, but you're still in control. And when you're in a better state, celebrate small wins. Maybe you didn't overthink for a few hours, or despite your worries, you still took action. That's a victory. And I know you might feel stuck, but are you? Are you sure nothing in your life has changed? Are you really the same person you were a year ago? Even on your darkest days, you have grown. There is no single answer that works for everyone, and I'm still figuring things out. I know you will find your own way. Be kind to yourself. Listen to other people's advice, but filter it. Filter what I have said today. I'd love to hear your thoughts, or if you'd like to share your situation so we can brainstorm together. And I hold your head. Kisses.